Alright, good morning everyone. So this is the pre-market prep that I'm doing for January 30th, 2023. So first of all, we'll start by the price action that happened this morning. So it's still 7:40, so there's almost a couple more hours until market opens, but I still want to get this out of the way just so people have some time to review it. So first things first, we gapped down almost 0.8%, so that's a pretty significant move to the downside. We gapped through a couple of my zones, so that'll leave some overhead resistance if we start to make a push up. I do have a lot more levels, you'll notice, than a lot of other traders, and this is because I scalp by nature. So because I'm taking 0 DTE options, I have to be very careful with the theta burn. So if we consolidate for 30 minutes, those contracts, even though the underlying asset just moved sideways for 30 minutes, those contracts could still lose 10-15% of value just because of the time decay. So I have all these levels because that's where anywhere I can expect price to bounce or hit some resistance where I could potentially take profits, I want to have that on my chart. So the first level that you can see that was respected very well here is this 401.86 level. So we bounced right off of there 1, 2, 3 times, and then we face some resistance here. And this level traces back to, I drew this from the hourly chart, but you can see it's a pretty significant level. It was a really strong support here, January 26th, really strong support there, some resistance there, wicked off of here, and so that's a good level to have. Then I also have a fib level slightly below that at 4172. But let's look at the zones. So in terms of what zones I want to draw, I want to look at where the price currently is and then where it could potentially move to the down and the upside, maybe plus or minus a couple percent. So since we're in this area, I'm just going to scroll back on the chart and see where I can draw some levels. So I'll move to the 15-minute chart, and you can see, so we can trace back to the 26th. So we draw a zone, a demand zone here from low of day. So we'll draw that from the bottom of these wicks to the bottom of this wick right here to give us a zone where we can expect a bounce. And then we have a couple more overhead zones. So because yesterday I didn't do the post-market analysis, I went ahead and drew this zone. So there's a demand zone, or supply zone, sorry, from yesterday's low of day. So I drew that zone right there. And then, of course, we have the high of day demand zone, or supply zone, from Thursday the 26th. And then we could expect a potential move even below this zone right here. And so for that, I have a zone from Tuesday, January 24th. And so that gives me another zone to the downside, and my final zone, which I mean, if we go below 395, that's a pretty wild day. I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows. And so right here is my low of day zone from the 23rd. So if we look here, we have several places where we can expect some price movement. And then what you can also do, if you want even more levels, like between this zone and this zone, that's about 400 to 398. That's almost like $1.50 of price action, where you want to know what could potentially happen. Where could we bounce here? So we can go back to some previous days price action, and we can find some strong levels of support that we can draw from there, which I have in these gray lines. So you can see here I drew this level. So we bounced off of it. We wicked and rejected this level, bounced off this level 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times. We actually closed at this level, so I drew that. Another level I have right here is 399.22. You can see that we rejected this level twice, and then we wicked through it here, and then cleanly found support on it here on this candle. And then the third level I have down is this. This is a very clean one here. So this level of support on the 5-minute chart at 398.85. You can see here we closed just above this support on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles. So I have that marked as well, and then we wicked through it twice here, and then we also cleanly rejected on this candle. So those are my levels and my zones. I'll be watching these today. I'll just be looking at price action, waiting for the perfect setup, and then executing where I can. Because this week is going to be a pretty volatile week, and sometimes premiums can be inflated and price action may not be the best. It could be very choppy, especially sometimes when we have these big gap up or gap downs, you might get a really choppy day simply because if the big move happens in pre-market, oftentimes we don't see another big move during the day unless we get something significant like a data release or a speaker or something like that. So just going to be watching for the perfect setup and then executing. So hopefully this has been helpful, and yeah, I'll probably do this again tomorrow.